I dare you to. I dare you to.
He just gets you pumped up, doesn't it? I just thought that was perfect for this journey that we're on this year. And the book that we're studying, Divine Audacity, because it is audacious to decide that you're going to step into your divinity and step into it consciously and step into it boldly without apology and without fear, and to do it boldly. And we are daring to be different. Some people would say that this mission to step into your divinity is even heresy. But in Unity, we believe that divinity is our divine nature. That's who we are. If we're made in the image of likeness of God, then that's all that we are. There's nothing else that we can be than divine. But somehow saying it out loud, somehow taking it on, feels audacious. It should just feel natural and easy. Something that's just natural. It is our nature. I love how the author of the book we're studying, Linda Martella Whitsett, talks about divine audacity. It is bold spiritual living, living under the radical promise that I am divine. My nature is one with divine nature, or God. I am able to boldly express the highest spiritual principles in the middle of everyday situations. I am courageously responsive. I am fearlessly self-reflective and self-corrective. I am intentional in large and small aims. I valiantly champion the goodness within myself and within each person I encounter. I hold myself accountable for thoughts, words, and actions that are in integrity with my divine identity. I dare to ignore the way things are and what cannot be done, bringing about the seemingly impossible. I suspend belief in the limitations that seem inherent in human existence to stretch beyond my known capacity. I disregard appearances to hold a vision of what can be so steadily that it must manifest. I overlook history, deriving my sense of direction instead from the source of love, life, and wisdom. I am not crushed by the weight of my commitments. Rather, I passionately fulfill my sense of purpose. I uphold the world, all beings, and all intentions in the light of magnificent possibilities. I lift up rather than tear down. I believe in the inherent goodness of all people. With divine audacity, I am the light of the world, shining brightly. In my presence, others remember their divine identity. In my presence, others heal the illusion of separation. In my presence, others stand tall and behave humanely. They snap back from self-pity and self-derision to claim their spiritual capacities. In my presence, others sense and act from their essential goodness. In my presence, others come home to themselves, to the self that is not their personality, but their divine identity. Audacious, bold, and that's where we're going. That's where each of us is going this year. Yes, you can say, I am the light of the world. That's your destiny. That's who you are. That's who you are. And so each day, be courageous enough to start with that in mind. Perhaps you have to say it out loud so that you can embrace it and feel it. Perhaps you need to take on that voice and say it boldly so you feel it boldly and start to express it without apology. Just standing in your divinity. So how do we get ready for bold? What do we have to pack up for a journey like this? I often talk about spiritual athletes and likening this journey to the way an athlete prepares for their sport, for their mission every single day. So yes, every single day we have to prepare ourselves. We get up in the morning and we start with our meditation practice. Be in the silence so that you know what the next steps are. So that you know what the next word out of your mouth should be. So that you know what your priorities are. So that you remember who you are before you ever put your feet on the ground. So our meditation practice, that is your discipline. That is your time to sink down within like we did at the beginning of service. To remember who and what you are. So meditation is in your tool bag. It's in your suitcase on this journey. The word that you selected, that selected you, that called you out to express that energy, that is in your toolkit. The affirmation that goes with it. Like I said last week, if you have to put it on Post-its and post it around the house, keep it top of mind. Because life's going to happen. Stuff hits the fan. We forget. We get caught up in the everyday, and we have to remind ourselves who we are and what we're called to be. It's interesting that when we start these journeys, stuff may start to happen. Stuff starts to unfold. It's interesting that I started to experience a sore throat the last couple of weeks. And I didn't really think much about it. I was kind of wondering why I seem to be catching something. I try to keep myself as healthy as possible, but it didn't seem to want to go away. And so I used Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And I happened to open it this morning, and I said, what is this about sore throat? So I use this as a guide. I don't know that everybody may not believe that what's in consciousness comes through the body, and if you have dis-ease, that it comes from something in consciousness. That is her philosophy. And so from time to time I go to that book, and I read about the particular problem I'm having, and then I just stay open and say, okay, is this something for me or not? Because we can always choose what works for us and what doesn't. And so it said that a sore throat means that we are somehow not feeling like we are stepping into our creative selves as much as we could be. And that perhaps we're afraid of change. So I kind of sat with that. And yes, my word strength, the word that chose me, is kind of unsettling a little bit. Like I said last week, my mind automatically goes to, all right, what do I have to be strong about this year? What do you got for me now? Didn't I have enough in 2019? Really? Yeah. And so, of course, that's where my consciousness is, and that's kind of fluttering underneath. And I wonder if that fear of change, because that is a fear, because I'm expecting the shoe to drop. That's part of my programming from growing up. My parents believe there's always a shoe that's going to drop. Where did that come from? The shoe that drops. If things are going good, well, you better watch out. Something's going to happen. We can't possibly be this happy. Yeah, and because of that, we experience feast or famine a lot. Because that's what we expected. And so even though I've worked on that consciousness and I've worked to heal that, I think I'm being called out this year to heal that a little bit more deeply. Maybe a lot. And so in my head, I'm trying not to come from fear and lack and limitation like was read to us in the daily word. And to know that I am safe. That is one of the affirmations Louise Hay recommends if you're having that kind of a problem. To know that no matter what comes down the road, I am safe and I'm fully prepared for this journey. This morning on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Linda uploaded 2 affirmations which are perfect for this journey. Last week we talked about the caterpillar and the butterfly. And she posted this morning, you can't talk butterfly language with caterpillar people. There may be some folks along this journey who need to check out of your life.
Very, very.
Or maybe you create some emotional distance with them. Some mental distance. The caterpillar people, they're out there. Sometimes a caterpillar person is in your head and is you doubting what's coming forward. The butterfly part of you is trying to stretch its wings and said, I'm ready for this. And the caterpillar part of you is saying, oh no, we're not doing this. I'm not ready.
Never get me into one of those things.
That's right. I'm not going in that cocoon. Right? So sometimes a caterpillar person is not someone else. Sometimes it's you and your fears and your doubts. They show up when you start a new journey. They show up when you affirm something new and empowering. The other thing that was posted this morning, everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. I'm going to plaster this to my forehead. Yes, and I'm going to wordsmith this about a little bit, so that out of this journey, only good will come. I need to know that, apparently. Yeah, I am safe. I need to say that to myself. I am safe. So as this journey is starting, some of the things you need to pack up in your luggage as we move forward are the things that bolster you up. We talked about some of this. Find if you have favorite scripture, if you have a daily meditation that you get in your email, you might need to pay attention rather than deleting it or not reading it. Maybe you need to have it by your bed so the first thing you see in the morning. Is there a particular song that makes you feel good and makes you remember who you are and what you are in this life and what your mission is? Play it every morning. Play it during the day. Sing the song to yourself. You've got to get ready for the journey. For some reason, that adage, loaded for bear, came up for me this morning. And I had to look that up. Where does that come from? I always want to know where things come from. And it comes from hunters who know that the brown bear is a formidable predator. And if you're going to deal with one, you come up on one in the woods, you need a big gun. Or the bear wins.
Bear versus man.
Yeah, bear versus man. Bear wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, loaded for bear. But then when I read it again, I kept looking at that. I thought it says that it's usually you do that in response to something violent. And I don't want to go into the rest of 2020 thinking that I'm waiting for something violent, something negative coming my way. I only want to affirm that what's coming down the road for me is good and that I am safe. And if I'm loaded for bear, it means that I am so spiritually grounded. I'm so aware of who I am at at my core that I have no reason to fear. I'm not thinking about fear. I'm not even thinking that perhaps I need strength because something ugly is coming down the path. That's going to terrify me and make me take out the big guns. What I have to realize is that I am the big gun. Ooh, I like that. We are the big gun. So there is nothing to fear. The big gun is your divinity. That's what you pack for the journey. As we explore, how do we step more fully? How do we expand into what we're being called to? The Word that chose us. How do I do it even more? Because in divinity, there's always room for expansion. We're always in the process of creation. There's always more. No matter how much you had to bear last year, there's always more. And you're always ready. You're always loaded for bear. Always. Yeah. Other things that we pack for the journey. This knowledge that you have a community. You have a community that supports you 100%. And that we're all on this journey together. That you do not walk alone. And it doesn't matter that your word may be different than the person sitting next to you. It's all the same thing. It's all about stepping into and exploring and embracing and expressing our divinity. It's all the same thing. And so as we move forward with this book and study the other words, the other energies, the other principles, they all have relevance for us. We're getting ready to step into something we've never stepped in before. And we're ready like never before. There is no reason to fear. You have everything packed within you, within your heart, within your mind. Because that mind is divine mind. Capital D, capital M. Divine mind. That knows everything, has every answer. And like it said in that passage I read from the book, even the seemingly impossible is possible in divine mind. And because we are one with divine mind, that means we have access to whatever that answer is to the seemingly impossible. So yes, it's an audacious journey. And yes, each of you, I am audacious and bold. And we may not know what that means right now. I don't know what strength is going to mean for me in 2020. I don't. But let's move now from, oh, I don't know what this is, to I'm joyously expecting whatever's coming down the pike. Whatever I meet along the way. Joyously expectant. Spirit, divinity, always wants our highest and best. Always. So whatever you thought your highest and best was in this life, there's still more. There's something higher. There's something better than that. And it is now hurtling your way because you said yes to this journey. because you said yes, because you're open. As soon as you were willing, the universe let go of the floodgates, opened them up, and is now pouring something forth into your life. Something you could not have imagined. And you will show up in ways, and you will step into an energy like you never could have imagined. I know I've said that to you before. I will probably repeat it multiple times, many times this year. Be bold. Be audacious. Keep your toolkit ready. We're traveling with different baggage now. Yeah. Not that negative baggage that told us we were something other than divine. Our baggage now only reminds us that we are the light of the world. Expressing God here on this planet. Do you realize how phenomenal that is? Yeah, just let it sink in. You know that song, This Little Light of Mine? The light's not little. The light's not little. It's far from that. It's brilliant. They don't make sunglasses to blot it out. Yeah. It's a light that changes everything. Everything you think this world is suffering from, we are the answer to. Everything. We're here at this time on this planet to be the answer to whatever you think the world is suffering from. And whatever is uppermost in your mind, I believe you have been called to shine light on that issue. Whatever it is right now about this world or this country that's sticking in your craw, you all know what it is. The thing you complain about the most, the things that set you off when you're watching the news or something like that. I think that if it's bothering you, that means you've got something to turn that around. And until you turn that light on, it's going to continue to exist. That passage said something about being accountable for what you're called to do. So if you play small, then part of the answer to heal this world doesn't get done. Doesn't get done. In a way that only you can be the answer. Only you. Nobody else. Doesn't matter how many people have that same job on their hearts. So let's be the divine beings that we are, boldly expressing it, audaciously stepping into it, keeping that new baggage that we have, the brilliant baggage that only affirms our divinity. Keep that close. Hold it to your heart. Remind yourself that it's there. And step into it every single day. So we're packed up and ready to go. We're packed up and ready to go. Next week, we're going to start with our first word. And we're going to start intently studying this and working on it. We have our books for sale here. If you want to get them on Amazon, you can. We're starting our class on January 22nd, Meeting Jesus Again for the First Time. What that's about is that we proclaim in unity that Jesus is our way shower and the great example. So we have to know who he was. What did he stand for? Where did he come from? What was his world like? How did he shake things up? How was he in relationship? We're going to talk about all of that. If he's the way shower, and we study what was his way, how did he walk through the world? He was so much more than the man on the cross that most of us know and grew up with. And he said, "You will do so much more than I did." So we're going to take a look at what he did and how he did it, and who he really was, the historic Jesus, the man who walked the earth, and who is now passing you the baton to step into the world like he did, in your way. In your way. So let's take this in a meditation. And as we prepare for meditation, anyone who has not chosen a word for the year, or had your word choose you, we can do that at the end of meditation. So let's just take a deep breath. And just ask yourself, who am I called to be in this world? Right now. Right here. And if you already have your word for the year, call it to mind now. Have it top of mind. Embrace it with your heart. Infuse it with joyous expectancy. And if you haven't chosen a word yet for the year, just be open. Just be open. Ready yourself for whatever is calling you, because something is surely calling you forth, as the rest of your family has been called forth. Just breathe. Just breathe. Start repeating to yourself, I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. And now affirm in your heart of hearts, everything is working out for my highest good. Everything is working out for my highest good. I am safe. Everything is working out for my highest good. I am safe. And just breathe into it. Let's take a breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And when you're ready, return to the room.